Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about astrology, LeBron James, and the 2018 NBA offseason. Anyway, people, well, many of you may know there has been much speculation and conjecture on what prolific NBA superstar LeBron James will do in the 2018 offseason. Where will he go? This has been a lot of talk about this, a lot of speculation. Now, the best of my knowledge, the free agency and having the ability to go to other teams will start on July 1st, 2018, or at least very close to that date. Now, LeBron James, as many of you may know, has Gemini rising. He has been known to be notorious to be very transient. And that's probably a vast understatement. Gemini rising can be very restless and probably very difficult for him to be stagnant. And really, Gemini rising can also disdain monotony, and that could include staying with one team. Now, I actually do see him going to another team in 2018. The first thing I looked at is that the solar eclipse in emotional Cancer will take place on July 12, 2018, and that will fall just shortly after that start of the free agency period, I believe. So it's going to fall in LeBron's second house of income, and it'll be about 4 degrees from the cusp of his second house cusp. Now, this could be a time, I mean, when you have a solar eclipse, of course, this could be a time where there could be something very monumental, prodigious, life-altering decision. And given that this solar eclipse is going to be in Cancer, this could be strongly connected with safety and security. And for all, I mean, this could very well be an unprecedented contract in terms of money. At least for the average per year, and I would not be flabbergasted or be in a state of shock if there is a very large amount that will be assured and guaranteed. Now, the zodiac sign Cancer, of course, is also connected and associated with the home and family, so obviously I think this could impact that strongly as well for him. Now, at this time as well, transit Jupiter will have recently gone back to direct motion. And I think being in Scorpio now, this introspective philosophical reviewing, perhaps for LeBron, on making a major transformation or like the metamorphosis in a way with another team. And really that involved a lot of deep research and probing. That can likely come to an end at this point as well. And as far as making that major change, well, also too, transit Jupiter in Scorpio is also going to be approaching his natal 6th house cusp, I believe, as well. And at that time, what's going to be interesting about this as well, you're also going to have transit Black Moon Lilith in ambitious, career-oriented, and single-minded Capricorn. It will be in an inconjunct aspect to his restless, peripatetic Gemini ascendant. And it will make the exact inconjunct aspect to his Gemini rising at the critical 26th degree of Capricorn on July 5th of 2018. And as many of you may know, inconjuncts in astrology can often be about adjustments. And I think this inconjunct will also come from his 8th house of transformation. And given this is going to be in the sign of Capricorn, this will be connected, I'm sure, with career and ambitions. And this is another indicator, I believe, for LeBron James that that really the change is imminent, and it will be this will be something of a major change for him. Now, the thing too is, and keep in mind that the Black Moon Lilith in astrology can often be about unveilings and revelations. Now, in Capricorn, I think this might be seen by many, if this does go down and he does indeed go to another team, as a very cold and callous move. And keep in mind that transit North Node in Leo will also be in his 2nd house at that time. Now, with the North Node in transit, of course, can often be about issues that we have to confront. And this could be, and it could really be about our future and destiny as well, and where we're directed to at the time of that transit. Now, given that this is Leo in the second house, this could be about perhaps getting a very exorbitant, generous contract, so to speak, at this time. It could also be a time for LeBron where he puts a lot of strong pride and dignity in values at this time as well. And anyway, at this time too, you're gonna, I mean, this general time period, transit Venus is going to be transiting his fourth house of home and family in Virgo. And I could see a purchase of a new home happening for him around this time. And if he does purchase that new home, it's very likely it's going to be because he's going to another team, obviously. And really, this could be a time too that maybe if he buys this home in the process, it could be done with a lot of that Virgo analysis, being that it's Venus in Virgo, and also being very punctilious with details and discernment. And I think as well, given too that when Venus enters Virgo, I believe it's shortly before the actual eclipse, when it enters it at 0 degrees, I think this could signify, I mean, not just for LeBron James, but for a number of people in general, I mean, that this could be about maybe something new that is initiated that's work related. And of course, with work often is going to come something of a monetary nature, which Venus is associated with. So anyway, well, next thing up as far as this goes now, at this time, transit Pluto will also be conjunct his natal Jupiter, which could is an indicator of perhaps a major transformation and in something sports related. Now, I think the biggest adjustment period perhaps for LeBron, if he does indeed go to a new team this summer, I think the biggest adjustment period for him is really, as far as making the possible transition to another team, can come between October 13th, 2018 and October 27th, 2018, when transit Jupiter will be in conjunct his Gemini ascendant. And I think when that ends, he will likely be acclimated and accustomed to his role on that team. And I'm not sure when the NBA season is going to start in 2018, and I had looked it up online, but I could not find anything. I don't know if that's even been determined yet, but it may start in that interval, or it could be right before it actually starts. So either way, that's when, I mean, I see him making that adjustment period during that period one way or another. So anyway, and another interesting time period as far as transit goes and how this could be relative to LeBron James, I think November 3rd through 8th, Jupiter will be at 29 degrees Scorpio. I think by this time, not just LeBron James, but perhaps a number of NBA players may have sufficiently gotten accustomed to their roles with their new teams, as 29 degrees in astrology can signify endings. And you're talking about Scorpio is about something that can involve a major transformation or transition. Jupiter can be associated with sports. So anyway, the next thing up is, well, I think too, when you look at, there's another thing that I looked at as far as looking at LeBron James and his astrology and this NBA offseason for him. I looked at his progress chart. Now, in his progress chart, he does have something where, when I looked at it, he has Venus in Aries at 0 degrees conjunct Mars, 29 degrees Pisces, of course, Mars being at the full culmination, 29 degrees. Now, the way I see this, this can indicate perhaps a surfeit of idealistic energy injected into a new financial period and associated with the end of something, perhaps also something that's competition and sports related. So this is really about a beginning, perhaps, and ending kind of rolled into one, because you got the zero, you really kind of have you got the 0 degrees in Aries, but it's making a conjunction to 29 degrees Pisces. And I think too, what that also shows is it's not just because of maybe the ending it signifies, but 29 degrees Pisces, as I stated before, could be a full strung culmination of energy, and it could show a surf bite of that idealistic Pisces energy injected into perhaps a new position, a new team that he's going to go on, and money related. That could also be sports related, given that its Venus is in Aries at 0 degrees in his progress chart, and Aries can be about, I believe, sports and admin competition as well. So anyway, and I think too, another thing that I'm looking at in this is that Mars is also the 10th house of his career ruler in his progress chart. So that makes it more significant, as well as something pertaining to his career. Now, also in the progress chart, the moon squares Venus. So given that, it could be, this is an indicator to me that perhaps women and family members, even in women, I should say the public, women prominent in his life and family members can be in conflict with his decision, assuming he does go to a new team. And another thing I looked at too is that in his progress chart, the ruler of his second house of income, the sun, is an unpredictable, freedom-loving Aquarius. And the sun in the progress chart is conjunct the 8th house cusp of transformation and rebirth. So that's another indicator of a change in transformation in connection with how he is generating income. I mean, the generation of income could be the same, but with a different team. I think that's an indicator of this. So anyway, now in Aquarius, I mean, that could be something radical perhaps, which is the second house ruler, the sun in Aquarius conjunct the 8th house cusp in his progress chart. Now, could it be that maybe this is an indicator perhaps that the possibility of him going to Golden State may not be as preposterous, as far-fetched as many might actually believe? Now, personally, I don't think he's going to go to Golden State. I think they just have, there would be too many egos on that team if they had him and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. I just don't think it would all mesh, and it would be hard for them to all play cohesively, but that is just my opinion on it. Nothing would shock me in this world of sports, though, but I think that, you know, the chances of him actually going to Golden State and looking at this progress chart, especially of his, are a little bit higher than what the average person may actually think, because you have this radical Aquarius energy in here. And also, that transit Mars is going to be retrograde in Aquarius at the time of this eclipse. So many athletes might actually be making more what we might think are outlandish and unusual, unpredictable moves. I mean, especially NBA players at this time, and maybe even seen as bizarre moves. So it would not be surprising me that you're going to have a number of NBA players at this time make really surprising, unpredictable moves in terms of the teams they are going to go. I mean, could it be possible that LeBron James and Paul George and even Russell Westbrook all wind up with the Los Angeles Lakers and Magic Johnson gets his dream team over there? Well, and that is a possibility, I think, based on what I'm seeing between the transits for LeBron James and just in general with how these transits might affect the NBA and all, you know, other players. Plus, coupled with, as far as LeBron James goes, his progress chart, really nothing seems to be completely impossible as far as where he may wind up this summer. But my own personal belief on it, I don't think he will go to Golden State, as I stated before. I'm thinking more likely San Antonio or Houston he's going to wind up. I do see it very unlikely he's going to be with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And even from a non-astrological perspective or vantage point, it would be hard-pressed for me to see him there, because Cleveland is probably not going to win the NBA title this season. And even because of that, I think that would give LeBron James more incentive and impetus to go move forward and go to another NBA team this offseason. So Anyway, and in short, I believe that LeBron James will make this decision sometime shortly before the eclipse, or after, or on the day of the eclipse, somewhere between around July 9th, 2018 and July 15th, 2018. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Astrology, LeBron James, and the 2018 NBA offseason. And stay tuned next time, where I am going to be giving you my Capricorn March 2018 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.